Hello and welcome. Good to be back again live and posting some videos. So hopefully that momentum is going to pick up. There's more messages coming through, and I feel that over the next couple of months we're going to have more coming through now because we obviously had a bit of a breakthrough summer. But things are really heating up unconsciously at the moment. So this year, as we know, has been the birth of the Aquarian age and the feminine moving back into people's consciousness and creating that sort of receptor cell to draw in that frequency is very, very important. And this is where we're missing the point at the moment. There's not enough awareness around receptivity and allowing our cellular information to start drawing that coding in, drawing that new frequency in that's coming on the planet. And this is why we're sort of still getting a bit stuck in our old ways. And this message I'm about to read off, again, it's another channeled message, comes from the Viridian Consciousness. And we've been obviously working together for a long, long time. And this is really about just sort of giving a little bit of a wake-up call to really work on our emotional body, how we perceive what's actually going on the planet at the moment, and how we sort of take our own personal life forward and how that affects the mass consciousness. And I've spoken many times about how we spread that word, how we spread that light, but it has to be done on a cellular level. So you have to be able to download and ground your own consciousness in your own body via your own soul energy, and then of course that then allows you to start processing the right information. And so when you're walking down the street, you're in the cafe, you're affecting everyone else around you, and if those people want to pick that information up, their cells will take that information in, and that's how obviously we spread the light on the planet. So it's not so much about saying at the moment, it's more of an inward reflection, then that reflects out. Okay, so it's obviously running and talking. It's great to engage, but we don't want to engage the intellect too much. What we want to do is start working with frequency. It's really important that we bring the frequency consciousness back into our awakened state and use that energy to then help others. But by working on yourself, as the message will say, is the most important thing you can do, especially now and leading up to 2025. So we've got this sort of window now where obviously there's a lot of chaos on the planet. That disruption, that has to be there. As the message will say, we have to go into the darkest of dark before the light can come back. That is the polarity swinging is creating, because obviously everything now is not unilateral anymore. Everything's starting to swing in oscillation. So that has to swing into the shadow, then it will come back, and then it will come back into alignment. So we're actually in that process now of swinging into the shadow, which is why there's so much negativity coming out on the planet. The wars, the crisis, and everything else that's going on. Obviously it's always been there, but it's really augmented now. It's more in people's consciousness. And of course this is like I said, this is bigger than us. This is a universal directive, and we really need to start coming back into alignment with that frequency. So I'm going to read off the message anyway, and then we'll go from there. Have a little speak about it afterwards. Okay, so dawn of a new era. This was channeled yesterday, this message, so it's nice and fresh. There are many amongst the human race who idolize false leadership, and this has caused dysfunction at a cellular level, and misinformation must now be brought into light. The doomsday effect your leadership loves to pontificate expresses only one thing: that you are powerless, leading you to believe that you are at the whim of some outside entity. This creates a frenetic nervous system that bounces off thousands of years of programming and complacency. Division and dystopian views will not exist in the new era, because what they don't tell you is they really have no control. It's bigger than the planet. The creative forces of this universe have an agenda, and Earth is marked for great success. We want all of you to work on your emotional reactions when they trigger fear, whether that is the latest crisis or future projections based on fear. You turn the tide on the planet when you take personal sovereignty, and it starts by releasing your fear. So we want to flip this around and use their agenda for healing, not survival. So when the propaganda starts with the latest crisis and you start to feel the anxiety, the fear, and the worry, we want you to love those emotions. Because if you use the shadow's agenda for your own healing, instead of playing into it, you start to heal the planet, human race, and of course yourself. It's always a choice on how you react to those triggers. And because of the draconian system on the planet and your belief systems, those emotions spiral downwards, taking you into even more deeper despair, because you're not conscious of the universal construct of emotional energy. And that is what we are here to bring to your attention. It's a fine line, we know, but you are on the precipice of change, and it's always been a choice. This year of 2023 brings opportunities like never before, and we want all of you to embrace this frequency. You don't believe you have the power to change things for yourselves in these circumstances because you have been programmed to believe this, and yes, it is simply a program. You are all very powerful beings, and we wish to awaken this memory within you, so struggle becomes a thing of the past. There are powerful elemental forces working on the planet as we speak to bring resolution to the shadow and its counterparts. You feed that light intention by working on yourself, and that is how we bring this information to you. Focusing on the negativity and despair is exactly how the shadow forces stay in play. And that is why your news outlets are always negative, or they are debating misinformation, which spirals people even into more confusion. There is a wave of consciousness that is so powerful, so light, so ethereal and majestic that you cannot feel it. But it's moving now through your solar system, and it's landing on this planet as we speak, with the purpose to expose all false narrative. You are awakening cellular memory of the most destructive forces that have been on this planet. And this is why you are all feeling out of sorts. It is the most ancient despair surfacing. The most powerful thing you can do on this planet right now is going into self-inquiry. Go within, knowing all is within your own heart. You don't need to achieve anything in the outward world. Change starts inside of you. And as you all know, this is a magnetic planet. So changing inner frequency magnetizes more light. And that is the purpose for each individual walking this planet. You are starting to witness mainstream news talking on the topics of extraterrestrial involvement. And this is the universal directive that they must now awaken in this new reality. It is the first sign that the planet's consciousness is finally changing for the good. Creative expansion, creative energy in general, is awaiting your response. You have to sit in your sacral chakras and feel this energy as it moves through you and bring your soul contract into alignment with your ego consciousness. Only then can you lighten your emotional bodies and start the process of transformation. Sitting idle births lethargy. Lethargy only brings a frequency of survival, and the planet is ready to awaken its galactic inheritance. You must move with the Earth's consciousness, vibrating with the same intention. If you stay in your shadow on this planet any longer, you will see a rise in natural disasters, death, heart attacks, and cancer over these next few years. However, that is okay, as their souls have decided to take them off planet. No one incarnated passes over from the physical world unless their soul agrees to it. So you can mourn these people, get upset, feel devastated. That is okay, that is a human reaction. But understand they agreed to it because they no longer wanted to be on this planet. When you know the truth of reality, judgment, criticism, and this attachment to death will cease. Only then will you know true freedom while walking in a body. There are many ancient forces coming back on this planet that are here to assist. All you need to do is send out intention to connect, and they will come and assist you. Moreover, your own guides, which are aspects of your own consciousness through multidimensionality. Don't let despair define your reality any longer. these emotions will be augmented over the next couple of years, because there has to be the depths of the shadow manifesting before the light can balance itself. So the darker the planet gets, the healthier the transformation is. You need to twist it and look at it the opposite way. If you put emotion and create belief systems through these false narratives running your planet, you're going to feel even more lost and confused by the end of 2025. So we applaud you to awaken your power and potential through these simple techniques we are providing. So obviously, you know, when we talk about emotional energy, it's when you understand emotions and what they're actually consciousness, they're actually alive. So you can actually speak to them. And when I work with my clients, I will talk to someone's ankle for 10 minutes sometimes, and I'll get a whole story, you know, through their ancestral line, through their multidimensionality, through this life, through their birth, everything. And you can start to feel where those, you know, that suppression is. So when you create gratitude for feeling it, because if you didn't feel it, you couldn't transform it, right? So when you have that gratitude, what it does is it starts to separate your body, your emotional body, from the actual consciousness of the emotion. And then what happens is consciousness, frequency, divine current, whatever you want to call it, can actually start the transformation of processing it. Because the irony is the emotions want it out of you as much as you want them gone as well. So, but we're taught to fear that, we're taught to suppress that. So these, again, is all programming. So we do a lot of the programming release work as well in the alignment modality, because this is a process of unconditioning our brain, our DNA, our hypothalamus, the chakra system, and the meridian system. And there's many other aspects to it, but that's, you know, that's it in a nutshell. And what's happening now is that the consciousness that is trying to move through the body is getting interrupted by a clogged emotional and mental bodies. And this is what's happening, is then that is pushing that emotion into the physical body. And that is what's causing a lot of the disease and illness at the moment. It always has been that. However, it's augmented at the moment because the vibration on the planet is shifting. So, you know, down to the atom is starting to spin faster to take on the new frequency. So if you're still heavy, you're very sluggish. So then, of course, there's going to be a clash. And then that clash is generally death. Because, again, you don't want, it doesn't sound draconian or anything, but like we said, the message said, people are deciding to leave. You know, nothing can go against your will, and that's also very, very important to understand that. You know, this is a process. You know, we're here for a microsecond. We're existing in so many other places at once. We come in and out of this planet, you know, like we go to the shop to buy milk. So, you know, we hold on to this life like it's, you know, we have to lighten up and we have to just deal with this. And, you know, a lot of people come in, what's my purpose? You know, I need to find my passion. Work on yourself, because that is the purpose and passion for this time that we're living in now. We have come here to transform lifetimes of emotional energy so we can go into this new earth frequency. You know, it's happening now. And like it says, this extraterrestrial, obviously they've been working with it since time began. But ultimately what's happening now is when this information comes out and when they start integrating it, we actually start hearing it from more of the mainstream leaders, that's going to take on a different frequency, because it's going to start debunking a lot of our structure. And that's a process that's, I think, spirit and, you know, the extraterrestrial and everyone involved, non-physical and physical outside of the planet, are having a real, not difficulty with, but there's a process, because human beings are so locked in their fear, paranoia, and their conditioning that, you know, even to expose truth can be it can be calamitous for a lot of people. So everything has to be done in a way where it's subtle, and consciousness is very subtle, but it has to be, so it can weave itself through heavy set human beings. So it's really, the more we're working on ourselves, we're changing that vibration in ourselves, and then we're starting to feel more of that energy dropping into the body. So everyone can do this now, and that's the beauty of it. You just have to be conscious. You just have to have the intention, and say, you know, I've had enough. You know, I want something different now. I'm sick of feeling this way. And this whole fear about getting old and this death gene that we've created is very important that we start to release that in ourselves and stop worrying about the anxiety, because the more you're believing it, you're creating it. And that's, you know, we all know about belief work as well. So ultimately, there's a lot of things going on. We're in a very unique time right now. This 2023 is brilliant. We've been waiting for this. This is, like I said, it's the rebirth. The feminine's coming back. So like I said, the more you're working on yourself, and don't worry about it, if you've been feeling out of sorts. This is one of the most wackiest years for me. I've been like this all up and down, and some of the most ancient stuff has come out of me, and it's been intense. So, you know, we're all going through it. It's fine. You just got to understand. Don't attach to it. Don't think, oh my God, this is me now. This is my life. This is what's going to happen, because your mind is going to create a lot of fear, especially if you're feeling things and you're going, oh my God, I'm dying. I've got panic. I'm going to get cancer. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. And, you know, we label all this stuff. Those emotions can take us into that despair, because we've had lifetimes of living with that belief system around those emotions, you see. So, and don't forget, you know, there's only the present moment. So your past lives are happening now. So your soul is bringing a lot of this frequency through us now, because we're in a time where it can handle it. We're in a time that's awakening, and we are a time where we can actually do this without being persecuted, for example, or we have a voice, you know, and we now have an international platform to start connecting through the internet. So it's a very powerful time, and this process needs to be integrated a little bit more. You know, we spoke about COVID. Most of the planet didn't wake up. They didn't listen. They didn't understand the truth of what that was. It's about going within and reevaluating, changing things. Everyone's sort of gone running out there. I mean, there is a slower pace, but the majority of the human race hasn't listened. And unfortunately, that's, you know, we're hoping that nothing else calamitous has to happen on the mainstream level, you know, for the whole planet. So, you know, it's a funny time, and I think, you know, there's no, consciousness is not perfect, right? So even the non-physical are having to navigate through times that they don't understand, and because there is only the present moment, we're shaping it every moment, you know, with our thoughts, with our feelings, what we're doing, and sort of people sort of have this, we've got to get rid of this linear timeline that, you know, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, because right now there is no time. Time's never really existed, but time left our vibration in 2016. So this is why a week feels like 3 days now, because we are not. So what you'll do is, when you work on yourself, you will actually find that, excuse me, you will have experiences, and they will be your blocks of time. You won't look at it from a linear perspective. You'll go, I'm going through this now. And when you're talking to people later, you'll say, oh, that part of my life. You won't say back in that year or back in that month. You'll say that part of my life, because you're not existing in time anymore. So everything is an experience. So you'll talk about experiences, not blocks of time. And when that starts to come from within you, you know that you're transforming, because linear time has been one of the most destructive things on this planet. Our milestones, expectations devastate people, destroy people. And, you know, I've been doing therapy with people for over 22 years now. And the most devastating thing for, you know, is when they believe they were going to achieve something and they don't. And because they don't have the emotional resonance or the non-physical reality of understanding, we fall back into that ego consciousness, which is conditioned and it's fickle and it's constantly changing and it's very, very fear-based. So it's a real hard one now. It's a very interesting time on the planet, and really you just got to focus on yourself. You know, reading lots of books, yeah, but do you need lots more information at the moment? No, really, truthfully, you need to go within and feel those emotions. Yeah, and if a book is presented to you and you feel that you need to read it, then get it. But don't just, you know, don't try and fill too much of the brain, the mental body up too much now, because it's actually the mental body that's causing all the problems. It needs to let go. Then the emotions can relax, and then you can feel better in your body. The soul can then talk to you easier, because if you're constantly in your head thinking, you're creating magnetic energy around your auric field. So the soul, you can't feel your soul. And of course, inadequacy plagues most human beings. When you've got inadequacy, you feel less than, not worthy, comparing yourself to others, believing the opinions of others. Of course, that depletes your system. It completes your connection to your higher consciousness. And that can start to cause problems in you. you know, so it's, I mean, it's so many ways it can go wrong, but also so many ways it can go right. And the great thing now is that everything's been simplified. So that's why we're talking about emotional energy. We're not talking about it from a spiritual new age movement anymore, all that hype. We're talking about universal laws. And when you integrate universal laws, it has to transform because they're law. That's the way it works. That's that simple, you know. It's that simple, and it's the simplicity which people find hard. It's, you know, they need a full set of rules and procedures. I need this manual, I need all this information, and they just keep filling their heads up more and more and more, and it becomes stressful, you know. And Spirit's words verbatim: the last things human beings need is another full set of rules and procedures to awaken themselves. What they need to do is just sit, and you can do it at home. You don't need to go anywhere, and that's the beauty of it. You don't need to go to India, you don't need to go to the Pacific, you don't need to go to Peru or you know, Egypt. You can just be at home and you can find yourself there, because your soul and everyone around you, ancestral, non-physical, are in the room with you always now, because they are awakening. They are asking you to help them. You know, they are needing you. The ancestral line needs to clear, because the ancestral line is what's causing a lot of the heaviness on the planet anyway. Because all these stuck souls that can't move on the astral plane. Huge amount. And I think I don't know where I read it. I don't know if it's true. I need to find out if that's actually true. But I was told that it's like 10 to 1. So there's 10 non-physical around the astral plane compared to, so it's like 70 billion, right? We've got 7 billion people on the planet, so there's like 70 billion souls around the planet. Look, I don't know the truth of that, but I know there's a lot of non-physical reality stuck, because obviously my work, you feel that, and I have those experiences, and I'm sure other people have had those experiences. But yeah, so it's quite an interesting time. Like I said, you know, just be in your own space. Don't worry about others. Stop putting too much energy out into other things that you don't need to waste energy on, because we're all so exhausted, because we've been doing this for thousands of lifetimes and we have had enough at the soul level. So we need to just relax. Less is more. Take your time. Get out of the country. Move out of the cities if you can. Get out of the cities. Get in the countryside. You need nature. You need balance. You know, you think you're healthy in the city, but the frenetic energy is too intense. And yeah, if you feel it, go for it. And your soul will bend consciousness around your intention. It will make things, it will move things. It's only your mind that will get in the way. And always follow the excitement, follow the chills on the skin. That's the soul energy. And just be in that space. All right, guys, thank you so much. I will speak to you all again soon, and we'll catch up. Thank you.